Welcome back to Valuable Coins. In today's video, we're diving deep into some fascinating finds that any collector would be excited to come across. We'll be exploring 3 historic coins, examining their unique stories, and discussing their current values in the auction market. So, if you're a collector or just love a bit of numismatic history, you're in the right place. Let's get started. First up, we explore the value of the 1941 copper wheat penny. Represents an era where pennies were a crucial part of daily transactions in America. Produced just before the U.S. entered World War II, this penny is from a time when copper was readily available for minting, and the S mint mark indicates it was minted in San Francisco. This year was also notable for the sheer volume of pennies produced, preparing the country for the wartime economy ahead. This 1941 wheat penny features the iconic Abraham Lincoln portrait on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse showcases the traditional wheat ears, framing the words 1 cent L and United States of America, symbolizing unity and strength. Brenner's VDB initials, which were added back after being removed in 1909, are subtly displayed at the base of Lincoln's shoulder. 1941 saw significant mintage, but finding a well-preserved coin with an S mint mark is still a prized find for collectors. Typically, a 1941 S wheat penny in poor or extra dirty condition won't fetch a high price, as it lacks clarity in its design details. In the auction market, pennies in better condition may go for up to $118,000, but ones in dirty or poor condition might only bring $123,000, primarily as filler coins for budding collectors. Collectors are always on the lookout for potential errors, such as double die errors or repunched mint marks, which can add significant value. However, due to the condition, any errors on this particular coin may not be visible, so it's more about the historical value than a collector's premium. This coin's appeal lies in its historical context rather than rarity. Next up, we explore the value of the 1945 penny. Marks the end of World War II and represents a return to traditional coinage materials. During the war, pennies were made of steel, but by 1945, copper was once again used, symbolizing a return to normalcy and peace. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this wheat penny features Lincoln on the obverse side. Despite the damaged date, it still holds the classic wheat design on the reverse. While the details may be worn, these symbols are a testament to the resilience of American culture during the mid-20th century. The mintage of the 1945 wheat penny was extensive, with over 1 billion coins produced. Pennies from this year aren't particularly rare, especially in bad condition. With the damaged date and unknown mint mark, this coin would likely fetch only a nominal value, likely in the range of $86,500, as the condition limits its appeal to serious collectors. Damaged coins with unclear dates and mint marks have minimal appeal unless they carry significant historical importance. While collectors typically avoid such coins unless they have unique errors, beginners may still find value in them as practice pieces. Given the condition, it's mainly a curiosity rather than a highly desirable collectible. Next up, we'll be talking about the 1946 copper wheat cent, specifically one with a large date, no mint mark, a blackened, dirty appearance, and how it could hold surprising value in today's auction market. Let's start with some background. The 1946 Lincoln wheat cent is a penny that was produced just after World War II. 1946 was a notable year for pennies, as it was the first year the U.S. Mint returned to using copper for these coins after switching to steel during the war in 1943. This coin features the classic wheat design on the reverse side and a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side. This coin has become a must-have for collectors, especially if it's in a condition or variety that sets it apart. The large date without a mint mark, particularly in unique, weathered conditions, has captured the attention of collectors and auction houses alike. You might be wondering why the lack of a mint mark matters. The absence of a mint mark on this penny means it was minted in Philadelphia, as the Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not include a mint mark on pennies until 2017. Philadelphia minted coins from this era are typically common, but certain conditions and variations can make these coins more valuable. In the case of the 1946 penny, no mint mark is especially significant when combined with its condition, age, and other features. So, what does that mean for the value of a 1946 wheat cent that's in black, dirty condition? Let's dive into that now. Typically, When we think of coin values, we picture pristine coins in perfect, shiny condition. However, certain imperfections, like a blackened or dirty appearance, can sometimes add a unique factor to the coin, especially for collectors looking for coins with a story. Coins that have developed a blackened patina or darkened coloration often result from natural oxidation or years of exposure to the elements. While many collectors value clean, uncirculated coins, others are interested in the historical look that coins with natural wear or tarnishing bring. Dirty or oxidized coins can sometimes add a slight premium in the right circumstances, especially if the coin has distinct historical importance or rarity. For the 1946 wheat cent, if the blackened color creates a unique appearance, it may attract specific buyers looking for these character-filled pieces. Now, let's get into what everyone wants to know: how much is this coin worth today? While prices can vary based on factors like auction location, collector interest, and overall condition, we can get a ballpark range for a 1946 copper wheat cent without a mint mark in black, dirty condition. As of today's market, a standard 1946 wheat cent in circulated condition usually fetches around $256,000. However, when the coin has unique characteristics like a naturally blackened, worn appearance, it can attract more attention. In specialized auctions, a coin like this in a visibly interesting, aged condition could bring anywhere from $289,000. In some cases, if the blackening is particularly interesting or the coin has an unusual patina, collectors may be willing to go even higher, sometimes up to $300,000. It's worth noting that these values fluctuate based on the demand in the auction scene, but dirty, weathered coins like this are increasingly finding a niche market among collectors looking for visually unique coins. Next up, the 1918 copper wheat penny was minted at a pivotal time in U.S. history, right at the end of World War I. The year 1918 marked the beginning of a new era for the United States, one where the nation emerged as a global power. This coin saw the transition period of the American economy, which was shifting from a wartime footing back to civilian production. Because of this, many items produced in 1918, including coins, are seen as remnants of a truly transformative period in American history. The wheat penny itself, also known as the wheat cent, was designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Its design, featuring two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolized prosperity and growth, which seemed fitting during times of change. The obverse, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait, commemorated his 100th birthday and marked the first time a U.S. president appeared on circulating American coinage. During 1918, more than 288 million wheat pennies were minted, with the majority being produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark. Even though the overall mintage number was high, coins in good condition from this year are relatively rare due to heavy circulation and the effects of time. Most 1918 pennies show significant wear and tear, and coins in poor condition, such as one with scratches or discoloration, are common. In terms of value, a heavily scratched and dirty 1918 wheat penny without a mint mark generally doesn't fetch high prices. But even in low grades, its historical significance often draws collector interest. For instance, in poor to fair condition, these coins may sell for anywhere between $267,000 in local shops or online platforms. However, if the damage is extensive, it may not attract serious bids in high-end auctions. However, with certain buyers interested in history rather than condition, even heavily worn 1918 wheat pennies can sometimes sell for more due to sentimental value. Some collectors enjoy owning pieces that have seen it all, and they value the story a worn coin tells about the past. Errors add another layer of interest for collectors. Though 1918 wheat pennies aren't known for many high-profile errors, die cracks, off-center strikes, or weakly struck examples sometimes surface. These errors, even on a heavily worn coin, can increase its value. An off-center strike, for example, might still sell for $57,000 or more, depending on the visibility of the error. Collector interest for the 1918 wheat penny, especially one in this condition, is generally nostalgic. The coin represents an era of hardship and change. For collectors who are interested in building a historical narrative with their collections, even damaged coins like this can be valuable additions. Next up, to 1934, America was in the midst of recovering from the Great Depression. The economy had been slowly improving after the stock market crash of 1929, and programs under the New Deal were helping to stabilize the nation. Coins from this period reflect a time when every penny mattered literally as Americans fought to regain economic stability. The 1934 wheat penny was part of the continued legacy of Victor David Brenner's design. Lincoln's portrait remained, symbolizing not only his leadership but also resilience and hope, two qualities that Americans desperately needed. This coin shares the same design features as the 1918 wheat penny. Lincoln's bust on the obverse serves as a familiar and enduring image. On the reverse, the wheat ears frame the central text, encapsulating ideals of hard work and unity. In fine condition, a 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark generally has visible details, particularly in Lincoln's hair and face, as well as the lines on the wheat stalks. These details help increase the coin's appeal among collectors. 1934 wheat pennies were primarily minted in Philadelphia, resulting in no mint mark. Approximately 219 million pennies were produced that year, making them relatively abundant. However, due to the economic struggles of the era, many coins from this time were heavily circulated, and fine-condition examples are less common. In today's auction market, a 1934 wheat penny in fine condition is valued around $177,000. While it's not a particularly high-value coin, its collectible appeal remains due to the period it represents. Prices can vary slightly depending on the buyer, as some collectors seek out coins specifically from the 1930s as historical pieces. One notable error associated with 1934 pennies is the double die error. Double die errors, where parts of the design are imprinted twice due to a misalignment in the die, are valuable among collectors. If a 1934 penny exhibits a double die error, its value can rise significantly, with some examples selling for over $278,000 depending on the clarity of the doubling. Collectors look at 1934 wheat pennies with a sense of respect for the era. Many view these coins as symbols of survival and perseverance, making them a meaningful addition to any collection. Next up, the 1947 wheat penny was produced during a time of rebuilding and growth. World War II had ended 2 years earlier, and the United States was experiencing a period of economic prosperity. The American economy was booming, soldiers were returning home, and the U.S. was asserting itself as a global superpower. 1947 was also the year that President Harry S. Truman was in office, dealing with post-war challenges, including the rebuilding of Europe and the beginning of the Cold War. The country's political landscape was shifting, and these pennies, while they may seem ordinary today, were actually circulating during a critical time in American history. This particular 1947 penny is struck at the San Francisco Mint, as indicated by the S mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. The obverse features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Lincoln is shown facing left, with intricate details in his facial features, collar, and beard. This design has become synonymous with U.S. coins, symbolizing leadership and the nation's historical roots. The 1947 S wheat penny had a mintage of approximately 99 million coins. While that might sound like a lot, it's important to note that over time, many of these coins were either lost or damaged in circulation. Pennies from the late 1940s and early 1950s were widely used, and many were either worn down to the point of becoming unidentifiable or discarded. Coins in good condition, which show clear design details, are less common and thus more valuable. For a 1947 S wheat penny in good condition, the market value is typically between $88,000. While it might not fetch the highest value compared to rarer coins, it holds appeal for collectors looking to complete their sets. Its value can rise if the coin shows unique toning or has a certain character, such as being part of an uncirculated roll. Collectors are also drawn to this coin because of its connection to post-war America. Many collectors target the 1947 S as part of their focus on San Francisco minted coins. It's an accessible piece for new collectors, and the larger mintage means that it's not too rare, but the historical context makes it fascinating. The 1947 S wheat penny does not feature the same number of well-known errors as some other years, but it is still possible to find examples with minor die cracks or repunched mint marks. Some collectors search for these small defects because they can dramatically increase the value of a coin. While the 1947 S is not a high-dollar coin in its standard form, any era can spark interest in a variety of collectors. Next up, we explore the value of the 1958. The era of the wheat penny was coming to an end. This coin is particularly significant because it was the last year that the wheat penny design, which had been in circulation since 1909, was minted. Beginning in 1959, the design was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, marking a new chapter in U.S. coinage. The 1958 wheat penny thus serves as a nostalgic representation of over 4 decades of coinage, and it is highly prized by collectors for this reason. In terms of historical context, the 1950s was a decade marked by significant political and cultural shifts. The United States was at the height of the post-war boom. The country's economy was strong, consumer culture was flourishing, and the Cold War was beginning to take shape. President Dwight D. Eisenhower had taken office in 1953, and his administration focused on both international diplomacy and domestic prosperity. The 1958 wheat penny, like other coins in the series, features Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, which was designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side showcases 2 stalks of wheat that frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. The year 1958 appears in large digits, and since there is no mint mark, the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This coin is an example of the large date variety, where the numbers of the year are more prominent. It's crucial to differentiate it from the small date variety, which has smaller digits and is somewhat rarer. The fine condition means that the coin retains most of its detail, with Lincoln's profile still quite clear and the wheat stalks recognizable, although some wear may be present. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 250 million 1958 wheat pennies, making it one of the highest mintage years for the series. While this might sound like it should make the coin easy to find, the market value for a 1958 wheat penny in fine condition remains significant. The high mintage means that these pennies were commonly circulated, and finding one with clear details and no major wear can be challenging. The 1958 wheat penny without a mint mark, in fine condition, can be worth between $28,000. While this is a relatively affordable price, it is still sought after by collectors due to its place in history as the final year of the wheat penny. There is an inherent sense of nostalgia attached to the 1958 penny, as it marks the end of an era. Because it was the last year of the series, the 1958 penny is often considered the final chapter in the story of the wheat penny design. This gives it a unique appeal for collectors, especially those looking to complete a set of wheat pennies. It's an accessible coin for those just starting out in collecting, and it holds special value for those completing full collections of U.S. coins. The 1958 wheat penny has some era varieties that collectors seek, including the famous double die varieties. A double die obverse era shows an overlaid image of Lincoln's bust or the inscriptions, making these specific coins especially valuable. A well-known error occurs when the die used to strike the coin was misaligned, causing parts of the design to overlap or double. The 1958 large date variety is more common, but the double die errors add an element of excitement for error collectors, increasing the value of a well-preserved specimen with such a defect. Next up, the 1941 wheat penny was minted in a time of growing tensions around the world. The United States was still in the throes of the Great Depression, but the economy was showing signs of recovery. The coin was struck just before the U.S. entered World War II, making it a representation of a critical period in American history. President Franklin D. Roosevelt was in office, and the country was beginning to shift its focus toward preparing for war. But for collectors, this coin provides a link to the pre-war era, a time when change was on the horizon. In circulated condition, this penny shows wear, but the overall design is still discernible. Lincoln's profile may be worn down, but collectors often value the history contained in these coins. The 1941 wheat penny is a piece of history that reflects both the recovery of the American economy and the looming shadow of World War II. With a mintage of 128 million coins, the 1941 is not as common as later years. The 1941 wheat penny had a mintage of approximately 128 million coins, making it fairly common compared to other key dates, but still sought after in circulated condition, particularly for those who appreciate coins minted in Denver. Over time, many of these pennies circulated heavily, so it's challenging to find one with minimal wear. While coins from this year are not exceptionally rare, the sentimental value due to the era it represents makes it a notable part of any collection, especially for those focused on pre-World War II US coinage. In circulated condition, the 1941 D-Wheat penny generally has a market value of around $0.10 to $0.75, depending on the exact level of wear and any unique characteristics. While it may not command high prices compared to rarer varieties, collectors are still interested in it due to its historical significance. Coins in better-than-average circulated condition, showing good detail in Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks, can fetch a premium, particularly if they are free of major blemishes or corrosion. For collectors, the 1941 D holds a certain nostalgic appeal. Its connection to the pre-World War II era, combined with the robust mintage in Denver, makes it a desirable piece. Collectors focused on US history value it as a symbol of resilience and growth during a transformative time. Additionally, it is often a target for those aiming to complete full wheat penny sets, and finding one in well-preserved circulated condition adds to the excitement. While the 1941 D-Wheat penny doesn't have as many well-documented major errors as some other years, there are still a few error types that can attract collectors. Some varieties exhibit die cracks, where the coin's die has cracked during the minting process, creating raised lines or patterns on the coin. Another possible error is the repunched mint mark, where the D was punched multiple times, creating a noticeable doubling effect. Collectors seek out these unique characteristics as they add value and intrigue. A coin exhibiting a well-defined repunched mint mark or other die-based errors can see its value increase significantly, depending on the error's prominence and visibility. For error collectors, even subtle irregularities can make a common coin, such as the 1941 D, much more valuable and unique. Next up, the 1942 wheat penny reflects another significant year in US history. With America now fully engaged in World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor, citizens were rallying behind the war effort. The US Mint was also preparing for material shortages that would soon affect coin production, leading to the steel penny in 1943. The copper pennies produced in 1942 are thus seen as the last traditional copper pennies before the material was temporarily substituted. For collectors, this year represents the US wartime effort and the many sacrifices made on the home front. As the country geared up for wartime production, industries and resources were redirected toward supporting the military. Copper, in particular, was in high demand for ammunition and other essential equipment, making 1942 one of the last years before copper's use in coins was restricted. The coins struck that year hold a historical connection to this time of unity, sacrifice, and resilience. The design of the 1942 wheat penny continues the same classic elements as other wheat pennies of the era. The obverse showcases Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. The year 1942 is prominent beneath his profile, and the lack of a mint mark signifies it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Lincoln's portrait symbolizes leadership and perseverance, themes that resonated deeply with Americans during the war. On the reverse, the coin features the two wheat stalks flanking the denomination 1 cent and United States of America. The wheat design represents the nation's agricultural strength and self-reliance, fitting themes given the country's involvement in the war. Even though this particular coin may have scratches and damage, these design elements remain a significant part of its identity and appeal. The Philadelphia Mint produced a large number of these coins in 1942 with a mintage of over 657 million. This high mintage means that finding a 1942 wheat penny is relatively easy, especially compared to lower mintage years. However, the historical value attached to this year still makes it appealing to collectors. Although this coin's value may be lower in damaged condition, uncirculated or lightly circulated versions from this year can fetch higher prices. Collectors value the 1942 wheat penny for its historical ties to WWII and the transition toward wartime production. Even in scratched condition, it holds a unique place in collections that aim to capture American history through coinage. In scratched and damaged condition, the 1942 wheat penny's market value is generally modest, ranging from $47,000, while the damage reduces its value as a collectible. Its significance as a wartime coin still holds interest for many. For beginner collectors or those assembling historical collections, it serves as an affordable piece with a great story. Collector interest in the 1942 wheat penny stems from its connection to WWII. Many collectors find that owning a 1942 coin adds context and depth to their collection. Coins from this era are popular among collectors who want to preserve the memory of America's wartime experience. For those who enjoy collecting affordable coins with historical significance, a 1942 wheat penny, even in damaged condition, offers a tangible link to the past. The 1942 wheat penny does not have as many widely recognized era varieties, but there are a few types that add value and intrigue. Die cracks, lamination errors, and misaligned dies are all possible errors. Collectors seek out these variants, and while minor in appearance, these imperfections can make the coin far more desirable. Additionally, in 1942, minor doubling on the date or on letters in United States of America can sometimes be found. These types of errors, while not common, are highly valued by error collectors. Any visible error or doubling adds character to an otherwise ordinary coin, increasing its collectability and market value. Despite scratches or damage, an error coin from this year can appeal to a specific type of collector interested in the unique quirks that make each coin stand out.